Hi there. Thanks for joining me here on your Tropical Weather Impact. It is Wednesday, June 11th. I'm meteorologist Payton Malone. Things still very quiet out in the tropics for the Atlantic Basin. Our Gulf waters are still very quiet. We've got a couple storms surrounding the Gulf, but nothing expected to develop. Caribbean still quiet as well. We've had a fresh breeze coming off the Caribbean there, and that's keeping the trade winds are high, and so nothing expected there. Just some Saharan dust if you're going out to the islands. And again, the Pacific is still the hot spot for action here. In fact, the update as of today is we have a new area that could develop here by the next week or so. We are watching this area for the next 48 hours to 3 days. We could start to look at another system developing south of Mexico, and another system may be forming here later on this weekend and next week south of Central America, those two lifting west here. So the pattern still supports more activity in the Pacific Basin, much quieter in the Atlantic Basin. And oftentimes, as we say, it's busy over here, it's quiet over here, and inversely related. When the Atlantic gets busy, the Pacific will start to get quiet. The rain over the Gulf, there's not going to be much over the next week or so. In fact, you can see there surrounding the Gulf here, we've got our daily chance for scattered storms with some much bigger rain out towards Texas and up through the plains. So that's where a lot of the activity is going to be. We do have some Saharan dust here. This is completely normal. We continue to track these big outbreaks through June and even into July. Right now, that dust is going to be thickest over the Caribbean islands here. It's not anything that's crazy unusual, but you'll notice some haze, maybe some vacation plans down that way. And then the dust becomes a much thinner as you get towards the Gulf region and surrounding here from Mexico up towards the United States. So again, that dust continues to travel east here with some fairly strong and fast winds moving through the Caribbean. Our big weather pattern the next week or so really doesn't change a whole lot. What that means is if you are watching us along the Gulf Coast region from Texas to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, you're still going to be dealing with your afternoon pop-up storms and hot weather. It's as simple as that. Whereas further to the north, a series of storm systems could bring some severe weather through the plains here over the next 3 days or so. So that heat ridge centered over Florida. I do still think we'll have scattered storms popping up over Florida each day, and then along the Gulf Coast from Texas into Louisiana and Mississippi, we will have our daily chance for scattered storms as well. And remember how this works. These storms will pop up randomly during the hottest part of the afternoons. Now, the more organized severe weather, that's going to be in some unique locations over the throughout your Wednesday. We've got a little bit of a greater threat for maybe a few tornadoes down from San Antonio to Houston. That would be the tornado threat across the U.S. today. But further to the north, a couple strong storms are possible up into the Midwest and then even up into Montana and Wyoming and even over towards Idaho and parts of Utah. Could see a few strong storms today as the heat really gets cranking up in those mountainous areas as well. So they've got a chance for storms today. Same thing for tomorrow. Again, this pattern is not changing very quickly or very much or much at all. So we're expecting a few more storms, maybe severe storms in Texas tomorrow. And same thing up through the plains, just outside of Denver up towards Minneapolis could see severe weather, even though the threat is quite low for your Thursday. And then fast forward to Friday, we're still in this pattern where we're just getting our pop-up storms, no organized severe weather on the Gulf Coast, but in Texas, up through Oklahoma, Kansas, and then back up towards Billings, Montana, could see a little bit greater chance for severe weather there, mainly a risk for some strong wind gusts. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. That would be for your Saturday plans. So we're getting to that time of year where the severe weather risk, organized severe weather overall, starts to shift away from the Gulf Coast. We have our daily pop-up storms. The organized severe weather risk starts to shift out towards the plains and even further north. Now, when you look at the next 7 days here, the rainfall totals are mainly confined to the eastern U.S. Notice it does look drier and warmer the further west you go. So areas out in the desert southwest, it's the desert southwest right now. And so that's going to be mostly dry. Maybe a greater risk for some flooding over the next week or so from Houston to Dallas into Arkansas. That's certainly where the more organized heavy rain could be. Down here along the Gulf Coast, any single day could bring a risk for flooding, but those happen in isolated areas. And then even further north, notice an active pattern up around Minneapolis, maybe as far east getting into Wisconsin there, could have some heavy rain over the next week, and then some heavy rain off the east coast of the United States as well. But the general thinking is a couple hot spots here as we go through the next 7 days, as our weather pattern just doesn't have a whole lot of movement to it. As we go throughout the rest of hurricane season, I'm sure things will begin to pick up, but for now we are enjoying the things being nice and quiet in the Gulf. For now, we're just stuck in this kind of routine summertime pattern across the central and eastern U.S. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today on your Tropical Weather Impact. We have these daily outlooks right here on WWL+. You can also catch them on YouTube. We'll see you right here tomorrow.